V gently rested his hand on the throttle as his small but sturdy shuttle glided through the inky blackness of space. Behind him, his alien partner T-Bark fidgeted nervously in the co-pilot's seat, his large black eyes darting around the cockpit. "Are you sure this old rust bucket can make it to Dark City in one piece?" T-Bark asked anxiously. "Half the control panels don't even work properly." V chuckled. "Looks can be deceiving, my friend. I've made some special modifications to this shuttle that would surprise you. There's more power in these old engines than meets the eye. We'll get there safely." T-Bark nodded, though his doubts were not fully assuaged. He had only known V for a few weeks since being assigned as partners, but in that short time he had come to realize that the human loved tinkering with machines and technology, almost obsessively. While V's countless modifications had saved their skin multiple times already, T-Bark wondered if all the added systems and tweaks were entirely stable or safe. Still, he trusted V, even if his methods seemed reckless at times. The man had an almost preternatural skill for creative problem solving and thinking on his feet, qualities that would certainly be tested on this mission. Their destination grew closer, a misshapen gray orb mottled with sparkling lights from countless buildings and vehicles. Dark City, aptly named for its perpetually gloomy climate and seedy character. As they entered the atmosphere, T-Bark felt a growing sense of anxiety about what awaited them on the streets below. "Do you really think we'll be able to find the spider here in this rat maze?" T-Bark asked. "From what I hear, it's been missing for months ever since that heist on Caldonia 9. It could be anywhere in the galaxy by now." "Trust me, my sources are reliable," V said confidently. "The spider is here. Whoever stole it is looking to sell it to the highest bidder, and Dark City has no shortage of rich lowlifes looking for an edge." T-Bark shuddered, his mind imagining what a powerful asset like the spider could do in the wrong hands. The spider had been built for industrial construction and exploration, but its nimble robotic body, unparalleled hacking skills, and artificial intelligence made it incredibly dangerous as a tool for espionage and crime. That's why V and T-Bark had been tasked by the Galactic Alliance with retrieving it quickly and quietly. Of course, quietly was not one of V's strong suits. As they descended towards the planet's surface, V piloted the shuttle with daring and aggression, squeezing between buildings and diving beneath tangled clusters of pipes and cables. T-Bark crouched lower in his seat, convinced they were about to become a smear on one of the towering concrete structures. But V's hands glided expertly over the controls, guiding them rapidly towards a small, isolated landing platform on the lower levels of the city. With a final lurch, they touched down safely. T-Bark let out a tense sigh of relief. "There, what did I tell you? She may not look like much, but this old shuttle has some life in her yet," V said, shutting down the engines. They lowered the entry ramp and cautiously set foot onto the platform. T-Bark shivered as he gazed around. They were deep in the bowels of the city, surrounded by decaying buildings covered in neon signs advertising drugs, weapons, and other salacious offerings. Distant shouts and sirens echoed through the polluted air. V strapped on his gun belt and blaster rifle confidently. "Come on, let's go. My contact isn't far." T-Bark hesitated. "You really think the spider is here somewhere in this foul place?" V grinned and put a hand on T-Bark's shoulder. "Trust me, friend, we're going to find that spider and be off this rock before the local lowlifes even know we landed. Just stick close and keep your eyes open." With that, V activated a transportable air shield and headed off into the narrow alleyways threading between the towers, T-Bark following nervously behind. Their mission was just beginning. V and T-Bark made their way cautiously through the dark, twisting back alleys of Dark City. V led the way confidently, one hand resting on the grip of his holstered blaster rifle, while T-Bark stuck close behind, trying not to trip over the mounds of trash and puddles of stagnant water. The alley opened up into a larger thoroughfare, lined with crumbling buildings covered in flickering neon lights, advertising intoxicants, companionship, and other vices best left unexamined. A diverse array of unsavory characters loitered about, from humanoid figures hidden under long cloaks to squid-faced aliens with too many limbs to count. Several eyed V and T-Bark warily as they passed by. V gave curt nods to some, while subtly shifting the direction of his rifle to discourage others from approaching too closely. T-Bark tried to look everywhere at once, convinced danger lurked in every shadowy corner. Finally, V stopped in front of a battered metal door tucked between two larger buildings. A faint neon sign read simply, "Bar," in flickering purple letters. "Here we are," V said. "Let me do the talking once we're inside." T-Bark nodded, steeling himself. V pounded out a complex series of knocks on the door. After a few moments, a narrow slit slid open, revealing yellow reptilian eyes glaring from within. "What do you want?" wheezed a gravelly voice. "I'm here to see Cly. He's expecting me," V said casually yet firmly. The eyes scrutinized them a moment before the slit slammed shut. A barrage of metallic clicks and clanks sounded from behind the door before it finally creaked open. V motioned for T-Bark to follow as he stepped inside. The door swiftly closed behind them, shutting out the ambient sounds of the street. They found themselves in a dimly lit bar, hazy with pungent smoke. A dozen or so shadowy figures sat at tables or leaned against the scuffed metal bar, nursing neon-colored drinks. A gravelly murmur of conversation hung in the air. Everyone turned suspiciously towards the newcomers. T-Bark noticed hands drifting towards concealed weapons. He fought the urge to turn and run back out the door. V, however, strode confidently up to the bar, where a one-eyed Onyxian stood cleaning a grimy glass with an even grimier rag. V placed a few credits on the bar top. "I'm looking for Cly," he said in a low but steady voice. The bartender eyed the money and then nodded towards the rear corner. V glanced over at a booth shrouded in deeper shadow. A hulking, crustacean-like figure sat there, one claw casually resting on the grip of a laser pistol. "Let's go," V said, encouraging T-Bark to follow with a tilt of his head. They approached the shadowy booth. T-Bark tried unsuccessfully to quiet his anxiously thudding heart. The crab-like alien watched them with beady black eyes, twitching his antennae warily. As they slid into the seat across from him, his claw grasped the pistol tighter. "Cly?" V inquired. "Who wants to know?" The alien clicked suspiciously in a bubbling, underwater-sounding voice. V leaned forward, speaking low enough to avoid any unwanted eavesdropping. "I'm V. This is my partner T-Bark. We spoke over the hypercom." Recognition flashed in Cly's eyes. He relaxed his grip on the gun ever so slightly. "Ah, yes," he gurgled. "You were looking for some specialized equipment. Very rare piece, if I recall correctly." V nodded. "That's right. I was told if anyone knows where to find one, it would be you." Cly burbled out a wet, chuckling sound. "Indeed, for the right price, I may be able to locate what you seek. But it will not come cheaply. Many powerful clients desire this particular device." "I can handle powerful clients," V said evenly. "Just tell me where it is, and the price won't be an issue." Cly leaned forward, antennae twitching. "There is an auction taking place tomorrow at the Space Bazaar on level 42. The item you seek will be the prime lot. Competing bids are expected to be quite steep." T-Bark shook his head anxiously, but V just grinned. "Then I better make sure my credits are in order. Where can I find this Space Bazaar?" Cly quickly gave them directions, in exchange for a generous cut of whatever deal V could broker. As they exited the bar, T-Bark felt both nervous and excited. The spider was almost within reach. But with so many ruthless bidders competing, he wondered if they really stood a chance at the auction. One thing was certain, it would not be dull. The Space Bazaar on level 42 of Dark City was bustling with activity. Merchants of all species hawked exotic wares from stalls and storefronts that crowded the grimy streets. Shoppers milled about examining the various goods, from gleaming droid parts to illegal weapons to mysterious artifacts of unknown origin. V and T-Bark wandered through the crowded marketplace, keeping a low profile in their durable but nondescript coats. V kept one hand resting casually near his holstered blaster rifle as his eyes continuously scanned their surroundings. "Keep alert," he murmured to T-Bark. "Things often get stolen around here if you don't pay attention." T-Bark nodded, adjusting his own lightweight blaster on his hip. His antennae swiveled warily at every passing figure. After walking several blocks, V spotted their destination, a large tent made of dark purple fabric erected at the end of the street. The entrance was flanked by two massively tall and muscular aliens armed with wicked-looking vibro-axes. T-Bark guessed they were Talions, mythical warriors known for their immense size and short temper. "That must be the place," V remarked, noting the high level of security. He boldly approached the tent entrance as T-Bark trailed behind, nervously eyeing the towering guards. With lightning speed, the Talions crossed their axes in front of the doorway, stopping them in their tracks. "Invitation only," one of them rumbled in a bass voice that seemed to make the ground vibrate. In one smooth motion, V drew his blaster and fired two quick stun shots, dropping both guards. T-Bark's mouth fell open in shock. "Quick, help me move them out of sight," V said, holstering his weapon again. They dragged the unconscious Talions off the street and propped them in a dark corner behind a stall. With the entrance unblocked, V cautiously peeked inside the tent. Rows of seats surrounded a central stage lit by spotlights. Various tough-looking aliens wandered the room, examining items on display while whispering to each other. At the back, an alien auctioneer stood on the stage next to a large object concealed under a sheet. "The spider's gotta be under there," V whispered to T-Bark. "Now we just need to grab it in all this chaos." T-Bark swallowed hard and tried to look casual as they entered the bustling tent. He kept his eyes fixed on the shrouded item at the back, heart pounding. Just then, a shout went up from somewhere outside. The murmur in the tent turned to alarmed shouts as heavily armed security guards rushed in. "We gotta move now," V said. He vaulted onto the stage and ripped off the sheet, revealing the spider crouched beneath. Swiftly, he hoisted the robot over his shoulder. "Let's go!" Blaster fire erupted around them as they sprinted for the back entrance. The spider's spindly metal legs flailed helplessly as V carried it awkwardly in his arms. T-Bark fired blind shots behind them to stall pursuit. They emerged into a grimy back alley and raced towards the nearest public transport tube. More shouts rose behind them as security guards swarmed out of the tent. V pried open the access hatch and they dove in just as a barrage of blaster fire melted the wall beside them. "That was way too close," T-Bark panted as the capsule shot upward through the city. V grinned and patted the inert spider now lying across their laps. "But we got it. Nicely done, partner." T-Bark smiled weakly, still trying to slow his racing heart. As the capsule rose towards the upper levels, he allowed himself to feel a surge of triumph. The dangerous gamble had paid off, the spider was theirs. Now, to make a clean getaway before all of Dark City came down on their heads. V and T-Bark arrived back at the shuttle, the inert spider robot clutched between them. V quickly lowered the entry ramp and they hustled inside. "Help me secure it," V said, nodding towards the spider. Together, they strapped the robot onto a work table in the rear of the main cabin. The spider's lifeless metal limbs were locked stiffly in place by restraining bands. T-Bark studied the famous robot up close with fascination. Its body was a smooth ovoid shape from which 8 jointed legs protruded, each ending in pivoting grips capable of clinging to almost any surface. The head was a cluster of sensor pods and antennas for surveilling its environment. Overall, it seemed surprisingly small and fragile for possessing such advanced abilities. "So how do we power it up?" T-Bark asked. "Do you think it will try to escape?" V rifled through a storage locker until he found a power coupling. "Its AI was designed to be helpful, so I doubt it will resist, but let's wake it slowly just in case." He carefully attached feeds from the shuttle's computer to ports on the spider's head and main body. Multicolored lights flickered across the robot's surfaces as power flowed into its systems. After a few moments, its sensor pod swiveled towards them, and it let out a chirping beep. V and T-Bark exchanged grins. "Can you understand me?" V asked. More affirmative-sounding beeps replied. "Incredible! The mighty spider is ours," T-Bark said gleefully. "Now we can finally put its skills to good use." V nodded. "Let's give it a test. Spider, can you interface with the shuttle's computer?" The spider extended a wiry antenna and plugged into the console. Lights flashed rapidly as it established a link. "Access the Dark City security network," V commanded. "Get me a layout of the robotic enforcement headquarters." The spider immediately complied, skillfully bypassing multiple encryptions before pulling up a detailed 3D map of the highly secure facility. "Wow, that was fast!" T-Bark gasped. An idea formed in V's mind. "Here's an even better test. Spider, hack into the robotic enforcer database and reduce the threat rating for this shuttle down to level 1, non-hostile." The spider dutifully obeyed. Moments later, alerts popped up confirming the shuttle's altered status. V laughed triumphantly. "We can go anywhere we want now. The whole city's security grid will ignore us." He decided to push the test even further. "Okay, Spider, now open all the gates at the Xiphon jail complex." Again, the spider complied. Alarms immediately blared across the city's networks, but V and T-Bark just watched the chaos unfold with satisfaction. T-Bark shook his head in dismay. Such abilities in the wrong hands could be catastrophic. "It's a good thing we recovered it when we did." V nodded. "This little bot just made our job a whole lot easier. The spider is going to give us all kinds of options." The spider seemed to chirp happily at the praise, antenna twitching. V chuckled and patted its head. "Let's get off this rock, partner, and put your skills to some real work." T-Bark grinned and strapped himself into the co-pilot seat as V fired up the engines. In mere hours, they had successfully infiltrated the most notorious city in the galaxy, captured the spider right under the noses of ruthless bidders, and field-tested its impressive abilities. And they were just getting started. With the spider on their side, their future missions protecting the innocent suddenly seemed much more achievable. V and T-Bark brought their shuttle down on a deserted landing platform near the towering headquarters of Mr. Big, the notorious crime overlord who ruled Dark City from the shadows. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" T-Bark asked nervously as he stared up at the imposing obsidian skyscraper. "Mr. Big has an army protecting him up there. Don't worry. We have the ultimate secret weapon on our side now," V said, patting the spider bot sitting dormant in the corner. "With this little guy helping us, Big's defenses will crumble in minutes." T-Bark nodded, feeling a bit better. After their narrow escape from the auction, they had plotted this daring infiltration of Big's stronghold. The data they hoped to retrieve from his networks would cripple organized crime on multiple planets. They docked the spider into the shuttle's computers to wake it. Lights flickered across its metallic body as its systems came online with a musical chime. 8 legs flexed and stretched as if working out kinks. "Okay, partner, today's the big day," V said. "Let's go pay Mr. Big a visit." The spider chirped excitedly in response. V and T-Bark armed themselves just in case and headed down the entry ramp. Making their way inside via a service entrance, they soon arrived at Big's main security room. V dispatched the guards with stun blasts while the spider plugged into the room's control systems. In seconds, security cameras were disabled, and all internal doors were unlocked. "Too easy," V laughed. On to the main event. They took a private elevator up to Big's fortified penthouse suite. As soon as the door slid open, angry shouts greeted them. "Intruders! Eliminate them!" Mr. Big bellowed from his throne, waving his meaty fists. Armed guards moved to attack. "Now, Spider, disable all weapons," V commanded. The spider complied in the nick of time, causing blasters to sputter lifeless right as they were about to fire. "What? Impossible!" Mr. Big raged. More encoded commands from the spider deactivated Big's defensive drones and turrets as well. "Time to clean house," V declared confidently. "Spider, hack Big's mainframes and transmit copies of all data back to Galactic Intelligence Headquarters. Priority encryption." The spider immediately set to work slicing through Big's formidable network defenses with ease. V and T-Bark watched with satisfaction as Big fumed helplessly from his chair, unable to stop the attack. "No, you can't do this!" Big shouted in dismay as years of meticulously collected information rapidly slipped through his fingers. "It's over, Big. Your empire is done," V stated. Minutes later, the massive data theft was complete. They turned to leave while Big spat curses at their backs. Returning to the shuttle, V and T-Bark wore triumphant smiles. "I knew the spider would come through perfectly," V said, gently patting it. "I have to admit, these humans continue to impress me with their daring plans," T-Bark replied with a laugh. "Let's get out of here and plan our next mission, partner." V fired up the engines as T-Bark envisioned the accolades that awaited them back home. With the unstoppable spider on their side, galactic criminal empires would soon be running scared.